رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Today's topic is Wednesday Wife Wisdoms, right? But in Wednesday Wife Wisdoms, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about he is not your emotional teddy bear. Learning to self-regulate emotions. I think this is a topic that really needs to be spoken about in our community. Wherein we go from, by the way, Jazakallah khair sister for the dua, and I mean we go from saying that yes, the spouse has to be there for me, the spouse has to be the emotional support. But how far do we take it? How far do we go wherein we say that he has to take the load of his wife's emotions? How far do we go with all of this? Because in many households, what I'm seeing is wives are using their husbands as primary emotional support system. And that's putting a very heavy weight on their partners, the weight of emotional regulation of the spouse. And that's a very unfair and unsustainable expectation because reality is that he's not your therapist. He just is not. Give me a second. Let me turn this volume down over here. So he is not your therapist. Should he be there for you? Yes. But is it his job to take you from a storm to calm? No. Is it his job to do that most of the time, all the time? No. Because of all this weight that we are putting on the men, there is a lot of distancing that is happening in the marriages. Husbands are emotionally distancing themselves because they feel overwhelmed. Each individual is carrying their own weight, their own emotional weight. On top of that, if every time they come to their wife and the wife has a whole baggage that she's about to dump on him, it's too much for him, even if he doesn't say it. And over time, it gets overwhelming. And then that leads to the men emotionally distancing themselves because their experience is every time I go there, or most of the time I go to her, it's a whole dump on me. And this is the reason that even sometimes men start living on edge. We talk like social media talks a whole lot about, when we talk about naming people or behaviors and everything, a lot of the people, for the sake of likes and stuff, are talking about how women are on the edge in their relationships. But let's just not deny there are men also who are on the edge. And it's not to blame this party or that party. It's just to say that anybody who is not taking charge of their own emotional regulation, people around them would be living on the edge because they don't know what's going to lead to what. Is she going to snap if I say XYZ? Okay, she brought her whole emotional baggage to me with regards to her kids, our kids, my family, her own friends, whatever. She brought it all to me. Now, what am I supposed to do with it? Is she willing to listen for a solution? Is she willing to listen that, hey, you need to take charge of it over here? It's nobody else's fault. Like, there is a lot that men are put in a situation where they are stuck. They don't know what to do. There's no right way for them in that moment because no matter what they do, wife is about to come back at them, right? And overall, too, when sisters are not regulated, the children, the husbands, they are on the edge because people, even if you don't say anything, people can sense that there's something off with you. And then they are like, okay, I actually wanted to sit with her and have a cup of coffee, but she looks off. And I'd rather just save myself from that, whatever is about to come, right? So then we can blame men. This whole dynamic also breaks down communication because when you feel overwhelmed to go to somebody, when you feel on the edge to go to somebody, what does it do? It breaks your communication with that person. That leads to losing the emotional connection because if there's no communication, there's not going to be any connection. And that leads to losing intimacy in the marriage. That leads to losing closeness in the marriage, and the whole marriage suffers because somebody who needed to take charge of her own emotions made it his problem, made it his job that you need to be there for me. So the core principle I want you to take today is your emotions are your personal responsibility. It's not anybody else's job to help you regulate yourself. A husband can offer support, he can offer compassion, he can offer presence, but he is not meant to regulate your emotions or absorb or fix your emotional world. That's not his job. And if any sister is expecting that from her husband, that truly is an unfair expectation. And with that, I want to move to practical steps that we can take. But before I go that, I want you all to have a moment to tell me what are you thinking, what comments or questions you may have so far. Do you have something that you want to share? Do you have some question on this? My husband is very sensitive to my emotions. I feel like any emotion I have, he's constantly asking me. As in, how does he ask? And do you think it's coming from a place of love or is it coming from a place of worry? Anybody else? You got any comments? Any questions? Yeah, so I don't get time to regulate without the questioning. I think worry and he says, what's wrong? Yeah, because I don't know about your specific scenario, but for many people, it's the recognition that if she's upset, it's gonna lead to something for me. So they just rather try to solve it ahead if possible. Yeah, so it can come from a place of concern too. He will repeatedly ask what's wrong until I answer it. It can come from a place of concern too, right? It can be genuinely wanting to help you. So in that moment, just instead of not answering, the best approach is to let the person know, I love you, I appreciate you asking, I see that you care about me, but I want to regulate my emotions. And then when I have understanding of what's going on within me, I will come to you with an answer. I think that gives them reassurance that everything is okay. You don't have to worry. Marriage is fine. Kids are fine. I am fine. I just need to process some things within myself. I think that would really help you there. So, inshallah, let's go to the practical steps that we can take. Number one, accept responsibility. Recognize that your emotional state is your responsibility, not his. Blame and expectation keep you stuck. It's only when we take ownership that creates change in our life, that leads to success, that leads to growth. Because many times when I say things like this, sisters don't like to hear it because we live in the times that it's easy to point the finger the other way, right? It's easy to say, oh, XYZ should do this for me, XYZ should do that to me, but we are not taking charge. And that goes in many ways, whether it be expecting, and I'm saying this as a coach, expecting that professionals, can I repeat that? Yes, I'm just going over a few practical steps right now that people can use to self-regulate themselves because a woman's emotions are her job, not her partner's. So here I'm just covering the fact that thinking that it's his responsibility, blaming him, expecting him to regulate you will only keep you stuck because he really cannot. He can offer you support, but he really cannot regulate you. That's your job. Only you can do it. And only when you take ownership, you will heal, you will change, you'll grow. Oftentimes, when you talk about accountability, when we talk about, hey, you can change it, people take offense to it because we live in the times that it's easier to just blame others. Oh, I wouldn't be angry if it wasn't for him or her. Oh, if XYZ didn't do ABC, then I wouldn't feel this kind of way. So we let other people have the blame, but reality is through that process, we are choosing to stay stuck. It's only when we will say, hey, it's my responsibility. Yes, people around me will do whatever they think they need to do or should do, and I cannot control that. But it's my responsibility. And I say this to my recently, I was saying this to my daughter as well when we were having a discussion, and I was like, hey, you need to change XYZ in your behaviors. And she was like, but my siblings do ABC. And I was like, we are not discussing that. We are talking about you. Your voice increasing has more to do with your internal state than anybody around you. You can say the same thing in a polite, respectful manner. You can be firm and speaking in a regular tone. You don't have to be yelling, right? And this is something that people often try to avoid. And as a coach, I have experienced this that, subhanAllah al we assume or we wish that people take care of us. People do for us. My husband should have spent hours trying to listen to me. Uh, this coach or this therapist or this Quran class should be offered to me for free. And why? If your emotional world is not hurting you to the point that you want to take charge, that you want to do whatever necessary to fix it for yourself, then how do you even blame others? How do you even expect from others? And I'm saying this as a coach fully. If sisters are not willing to pay to solve their problems, to fix their life, I truly think it's an unfair expectation from a stranger to let go of their halal rizq simply to satisfy somebody else. No. Those of us that are qualified, those of us that know what we're doing, those of us that we know how much we have invested in ourselves to be at a point when we can help people, how much we consistently invest in ourselves, our time, our energy, our money to be at a place where we can help others, we are not about to be there so people can feel like others care about them. You have to care for yourself. If you care for yourself, you will do whatever is necessary. And in this case, with your husband, you have to wish for yourself calm. Don't put the weight on him. So, number one, accepting responsibility. Number two, become aware of your emotional state. You cannot regulate what you do not recognize. Set aside a time when are you going to do this? How much time? Do not go overboard. You don't have to do it like hours. Don't do that to yourself. Have a constraint. Put 10 minutes, put 5 minutes that I'm going to reflect. I'm going to be silent. I'm going to listen to myself as to what's really going on within me. And then as you set that time aside, check in with yourself honestly. What am I feeling and why? Write down your thoughts, write down your emotions. Learning to hear what's going on within you, that's the first step to emotional maturity. My own personal successes, truly, truly, and I'm grateful to Allah for that. Now, when my heart is a little bit unsettled, I can tell you I'm a little bit unsettled and I need some time to myself to figure out what's going on. Sometimes the answers aren't like this. It takes a little bit, it takes a little bit to figure out. It takes a pen and paper. It takes writing it down. It takes actually deeply finding out. I'll give you an example. Something recently happened, and there was a person who was trying to get their way with me. Okay. And because of other people involved, they did get their way. Okay. And now I was upset. my upset was out of proportion. Now, mind you, I did not do the behaviors based off of my emotions, but I still had emotions that were very loud within me. And it was after a very long time I experienced that. And I had to dig deep as to why, because this problem itself did not deserve my emotions to be this loud. But my emotions were this loud. But only when I sat down and I wrote down, I figured out my thought there was this person always gets what they want. Always. Years of a relationship and always they get what they want. So my loud emotions were not just because of this incident, they were because of the all the years of relationship I have had or a connection I have had with this person, right? Now, how did I know that? I spent time figuring it out with myself. I asked myself questions. I was not denying the depths of my pain. I was there for myself. And yes, I also made some calls to help myself unpack it because my coach knew what I needed in that time. So seeking the right help really helped me in that moment. But my point here being that you cannot fix what you don't know when you don't recognize. And now, because I'm mentioning that, I do want to mention how I figured it. I changed my thought. This person only gets what Allah allows them to get. That's about it. They don't get more than that. Allah has decided how everything is going to go. So my job is to do my best. But after that, it's still if people get what they want or whatever it is, that is written by Allah. And I'm not gonna be upset about it because I know, and I know through the experience I have with Allah, that ultimately He gives me what's best for me. So yeah, that's how I was able to change that and I was able to calm down because I chose to change that thought. It took some time, but I did it. Number three, so the first is take responsibility. Number two was to recognize what's going on. Number three is don't despair or feel overwhelmed. Many people don't know how to do these things. Many people don't have the skill set that Alhamdulillah Allah has blessed me to have, right? So for them, where do I begin? Where do I begin? I have like a storage unit full of trauma. I have a storage unit full of pain. I have a storage unit full of uh trash thoughts. Where do I begin? And then that where do I begin keeps these people stuck. And they just stay in that overwhelm. And it's important to recognize that Allah does not burden a soul more than it can handle. Yes, you overlooked quite a few things for quite some time. But now in this moment, you have the knowledge that you did not have before. So when you get the knowledge, that's the time to take the action. With all the weight you have on you, the emotional weight, the emotional burden, that can be from anything. That can be from that schoolmate that bullied you because you were not tall enough, or that um, parent who reminded you that your grades were not good enough, or that spouse who never looked at you and made you feel like you're not beautiful, or that child who would disrespect you and instead of recognizing it's a child, your thought immediately goes, this person also disrespects me, right? It can be a lot of thoughts, it can be a lot of emotions. So where do we begin? We begin with recognizing that Allah has given this to me because I am capable of handling it. I am capable of doing this work one step at a time. This is where I think we must recognize working with someone versus working without someone. People try to rush things sometimes and they skip steps that they need to be able to actually overcome the challenge that they need to overcome. So in this moment, It's important to recognize, take one step at a time. It does not have to be an overwhelming, drastic change because change does not happen overnight. I remember I posted a video some time ago where I said healing cannot be Amazon shipped, Amazon Prime. There's no what was it? There's no prime delivery of healing. That's true. That's true. We live in a day and age where everybody wants quick solution, quick solution, but it's not possible. Like, for example, in my 3 month coaching, we will work on one aspect of your life. In our 6 month coaching, we will work on a bit longer. But our Thrive 2026, the whole year program, that that looks through many lenses, that works on many areas of your life. So you cannot compare. You cannot compare Thrive 2026 versus 3 month or the 6 month coaching because it's just different. Because in each, we are gonna go in a very, very different way. So point number four, step number four, take charge. Start now. Don't wait. Because I think people don't recognize how much Shaitan wants us to wait. And then a list of tasks piles up, and what was the most important got neglected. Yes, many, many years you may have ignored things, but you don't have to continue to do it. And like recently I had a sister, and it's not one sister, many have done this, that they come on consultation call and their first statement is, I have studied psychology. And I like to say to people, listen, if Western psychology was helping you, you would not be here. That's just a matter of fact. When I'm trained in ilmu nafs, exists because it helps. I don't need to sit there and have debates with anybody about it. Anybody who believes Western psychology helps them, go right on. Try it. We'll meet in a few years because we will meet. I assure you of that. In current times, the amount of labeling, the amount of destroying the relationships, the whole thing that's happening because of the overcomplication that Western psychology has done. But some people still believe in it, and I'm like, go for it. But proof is in the pudding. If you have studied psychology and you still need help because you haven't been able to solve your relationship problems, you have not been able to solve your own internal emotional overwhelm, you have not been able to sleep properly, you are not eating properly, you are not taking care of yourself, you are dying while living day by day, you need help. You need help. And we have to be willing to say that. And as hard as it sounds to people, we have to understand you can start the moment you wish the change for yourself. Every moment is an opportunity. It doesn't have to be next day. It doesn't have to be next week. It doesn't have to be next month. It can be today, right now. It starts with having the intention. Bismillah. An intention is a decision. It's not just something that you say to yourself and you let go of it. It's a decision. It's a decision you will have to take over and over and over again. That I am going to take charge of my emotions. I am going to self regulate. It is my job. And don't do it alone. Do it with Allah. Bismillah. With Allah. We start our things with Allah. And we have to learn to take action. When Nuh alayhi salam was told about how his people are not going to accept Islam, he was immediately told to get up and build the ark. Because my reflection on that ayah was, when we get a heavy news, it gets so overwhelming that we sit down, we go in depression about it. But in that moment, if you get up, you do something, you put yourself on a task, alhamdulillah, you get out of that state. And many, many people are waiting for perfect conditions. This is something that I see a lot in our sisters. And it hurts me because I only have a limited quota of free clients. I can't take like everybody as a free client, but it hurts me when I see sisters who are struggling very badly, like very badly, but they still want to wait on that. And in that moment, I can only make dua that Allah guides them so that they actually choose to better themselves. Actually choose. Because listen, growth and healing is not luxury, it's necessity. It's saddening that many think that it's a trend, it's a luxury. No, it's not. Being able to sleep peacefully is a necessity. It's not a luxury. Being able to eat properly is not luxury. It's necessity. Being able to connect with people on a deeper level and experience those connections is a necessity. And when we choose to create dynamics and live lives wherein we deny ourselves these necessities, your body is gonna let you know you are gonna go down the hill, whether you want to accept it or not. And in that moment, others cannot do anything for you except give dua and a reminder that, hey, shaitan thrives on procrastination and hopelessness. You have to choose to not let shaitan guide you. Rather, you have to choose to guide yourself. And with that, I want you guys to take away this mindset shift today. Move from he isn't there for me emotionally, your husband, because yes, many sisters put that weight on their husbands on a very different level. So move from he isn't there for me emotionally to I take charge of my emotions. I choose how I show up in my marriage. It's your responsibility. Marriage is consistent work. Anybody who's not putting it work in that marriage, don't complain then. You were not doing what you were supposed to do. You are supposed to take care of your side of the marriage. If you show up panicking, if you show up constantly irritated, if you show up on the edge all the time, if you show up overly stimulated all the time, it's not his fault. It truly is not if he slowly moves away from you. Because people like to be around happy, good people. That's just the fact. People don't like to be around grumpy, frustrated, overstimulated, and quite a few other things that all our sisters are experiencing nowadays. And this shift, wherein you decide that I take charge of my emotions, I choose how I show up in my marriage, is actually what restores the dignity, strength, and balance in the relationship. Because when you show up as a woman who is regulated, when you show up as a woman who took charge of her problems because she knew she can, you show up as a woman who takes care of her 50% of the marriage by showing up with the best emotional state possible. Now, mind you, we're not in Jannah. Life is not going to be Jannah. This is dunya. We get it. But it's not supposed to be hellfire. This is dunya where we are working for Jannah. But this is not supposed to feel like hellfire. You are not supposed to create your life in a way that you are all the time drained, frustrated, exhausted. And it's not his job to heal you. It's not his job to regulate you. So, with all of that said, we'll wrap up with a few teaching points that I want you guys to take away. Number one, emotional self regulation is a personal responsibility. Number two, expecting your husband to carry your emotional weight damages the marriage. SubhanAllah, this I think, honestly, once I upload this on YouTube, I would really appreciate if you guys send it to all the married people because it's easy to blame your partner from emotionally moving away from you. It's very hard to say, I was emotionally overwhelming him because I was not self regulating. Number three, Awareness, reflection, and action leads to emotional maturity. Growing up and becoming an old with your age has no value. Trust and belief. You can be a 50-year-old and emotionally immature person, and you can be a 30-year-old and emotionally mature person. With a 50-year-old emotionally immature person, having a relationship would be pain in our entire life. With a 30-year-old emotionally mature person, having a relationship would be easy. We all are looking for ease. Ease is what brings us calmness. Sahal, ease, right? So that was the third one. Point number four. Starting with Allah brings clarity and strength. Do not think you have to do it alone. Please do not think you have to do it alone. In my coaching, one of the things I always talk to sisters about is we come back to Allah always. That is where your certainty is. That is where your stability is. Nobody else can offer you that stability, not even your own self. The stable state, the calm, the peace comes from Allah and Allah alone. That's why you have to believe. When you turn to Him, you will be in the right place. Number five, when you change how you manage your emotions, your marriage changes with you. This is a very important point, and I'm going to repeat it again. I'm going to repeat it three more times. When you change how you manage your emotions, your marriage changes with you. When you change how you manage your emotions, your marriage changes with you. When you change how you manage your emotions, your marriage changes with you. Why did I say it total of four times? Because I get calls where sisters say, we want to do marriage counseling. I want him to sit with me, da, da, da. And I'm like, I don't do that. I only work with one client, and that's a female. And through female, when she heals, the relationship changes. And many people don't believe on that one. I hear you because we live in the dynamic where we want to force people, we want to blame people. So we want to bring him in the room and we want to, straighten him also. Tell him also what are his faults, what all he needs to change. Da, da, da. No, I don't do that. I help my client to get in such a powerful state emotionally that she changes her marriage. Women are very powerful. Allah has given us immense strength. Allah has given us a level of intellect that many don't even appreciate, recognize, or use. So when a woman will change, marriage will change. And now, I'll be honest, people are afraid of divorce. People don't want to talk about divorce. But divorce is part of Islam. It's allowed. It's the last resort always, but it is allowed. So now, if you show up to me and you're being constantly beaten, if you show up to me and you're constantly being name called, if you show up to me and you are his punching bag practically, I'm not going to decide for you. I am again going to do the same thing that I was doing. I'm going to help you get emotionally powerful. And then when you are emotionally powerful, you can decide for yourself that I want to invest time and energy in changing this relationship or I want to get out of it. That's a choice you will make. Nobody else can and nobody else should. In our community, we think our parents have to decide whether I should stay married or not. No, it's your choice, it's your decision. And I'm never gonna tell sisters to get divorced because, hey, as Muslims, we must try to keep the marriage together. But at the same time, sis, if you're his punching bag, I'm just saying, now we went in a totally different tangent because I see that a lot and it hurts me. But anyway, today the topic is don't overwhelm the man and don't use him as your emotional teddy bear because that happens to a lot of brothers. Learning to self regulate. And this is one of the key things that, inshallah, through Thrive 2026, my clients will receive, wherein we will be 1 year working together, dedicated time together every week, 1 year. We are going to meet for 1 hour, Zoom calls. You don't have to come anywhere, and you can sit wherever you are comfortable, and we can talk in that 1 hour per week, I'm going to give you tasks that actually help you regulate yourself. You do not have to do things alone. Choose what serves you, decide what's best for you, and when you heal yourself and you fill your own cup, that's going to help everybody around you. And I hope to see you all in Thrive 2026. I truly do, because reality is our world, our Muslim ummah, our masajid would be very different if our women truly learned how to self regulate themselves. Inshallah, with that, I will end. Let me know if you guys have any questions, or else we leave. Jazakallah khair. This is very impactful and mashallah. Wayaki, wayaki, wayaki. May Allah allow us to beautify our marriages by actually beautifying our inner state. I mean, anybody got any questions or comments? If not, then I'm leaving. 1, 2, 3. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll end this.